Hallo zusammen! It's one thing to generally have survived as a band for 27 years so far, but it's a whole nother thing and a whole nother level of awesomeness, I think, and respect that you have done that in a way that you didn't have to substitute or change any band member. Of course, I'm talking about Rammstein and actually also about their song Haifisch. But what does Haifisch actually mean? And most importantly, why does it seem to be a perfect representation of where the band is today and what they think about themselves? Let's find that out today and learn some German with Rammstein and the song Haifisch. The song Haifisch was released as a single off of Rammstein's sixth album Liebe ist für alle da. Love is there or exists for everyone in 2009. It's a masculine noun which refers to an animal. Der Haifisch, singular. Die Haifische, plural, the shark. The track's lyrics combine references to the famous German drama Die Moritat von Mackie Messer, Die Drei-Groschen-Oper, which was written by the equally famous German theater practitioner, playwright and poet Bertolt Brecht. The Bertolt Brecht reference is most obvious in the chorus of the song, but more about that later. First, let's begin with the first verse. Wir halten zusammen. Wir halten einander aus. Wir halten zueinander. Niemand hält uns auf. Wir halten euch die Treue. Wir halten daran fest. Und halten uns an Regeln, wenn man uns regeln lässt. Similar to all other verses, this first one features a recurring German word which basically could be an alternative title since it's so fundamental to the lyrical structure. Halten, to hold, and various variations in forms of it, including similar words or words that contain that term. So for instance, in line 1, wir halten zusammen, it features the conjugated separated German verb zusammenhalten in the first person plural, Präsens, indicative mode, active. Literally speaking, it means to hold together, meaning to stay together, to be loyal to one another, having a strong bond or sense of unity. Line 2 features halten, once again, but it relates to a totally different word this time around. The verb aushalten, to endure something or someone, also gets separated as a conjugated verb and contains the prefix and preposition aus, ex or out. As a musical piece, it's playing with words, ambiguities, expressive semantic relations, and more of that really make Haifisch so cool lyrically speaking. In addition to the great 80s Depeche Mode-like synth sounds and the typical Rammstein ingredients, that specific mixture also makes it one of my personal Rammstein favorites on the album and in general. The lines themselves are short, simple, expressive, but in a direct relation and connection to previous and upcoming lines and the creative use of words that contain the term halten. Each verse becomes a really strong entity on its own, which really highlights the strong bond between the guys, I think. I just love and appreciate that. Line 3 encompasses that thought. It could basically be seen as a public promise to not only themselves actually, but also to the music world and especially their fans. Wir halten zueinander. We'll stay loyal to one another. For zueinander halten, to stick or hold together. It's very similar to zusammenhalten in the first line, which can as well be spelled as two words, by the way, forming a phrasal verb, zusammenhalten, even though the verbalization would be the same, zusammenhalten. Line 4 strengthens the strong willpower between the guys, their dedication and how motivated they are to go their own way, despite previous backlashes, criticisms, etc. Niemand hält uns auf. No one's gonna stop us. Now. In this case, the subject has shifted from wir, an internal perspective, to the indefinite pronoun niemand, nobody or no one, implying them, external critics and obstacles outside of the band and their cousin. Line 5 features a fixed expression, jemandem die Treue halten, literally to hold someone the loyalty, which again is similar to line 3 and line 1, except for the shifting perspective here. This time the band directly addresses their fans and listeners and promises them loyalty. Line 6 refers back to line 5 and underlines that it's not a new vow, but that they've already been loyal to them all the time before and they plan to stay true to that. Wir halten daran fest. We're gonna keep doing that. We're gonna stick to that. We're gonna hold on to that. Which is a more literal equivalent for an etwas festhalten or festhalten an to hold on to or staying true to something. In a way, line 7 is another continuation and addition to lines 5 and 6, since it starts with the connecting conjunction und. And, sich an etwas halten, to abide by something or to stick to something. In this case, Regeln, rules, as long as they either can rule or can have rules, because here it's actually ambiguous. Line 8 continues that ambiguous phrase, wenn man uns regeln lässt. It can either contain the noun regeln, meaning the plural form of die Regel, the rule, or it could contain the related verb regeln, to rule something. Similar to the phonetic ambiguity in du hast, this is another sonic play with words, basically. Both sentences sound exactly the same, and you can only tell the correct version by looking at the spelling, since German nouns are always capitalized. Once again, these are the things that I love the most about Till Lindemann's lyrics. Just awesome. Semantically, these last lines could be related to the German Department for Works that may be harmful to minors or the youth, a federal department Rammstein has had some history with, you could say, and hence it could be a certain implied criticism of some of their regulative decisions. Also on the same album, especially with the song Ich tu dir weh, literally I'm gonna hurt you, and related visual art that had to be taken out, by the way, it had to be censored. The song then continues with the almost heroic sounding chorus. Und der Haifisch, der hat Tränen, und die laufen vom Gesicht. Doch der Haifisch lebt im Wasser, so die Tränen sieht man nicht. As I've said before, the German chorus is directly inspired by Die Moritat von Mackie Messer, literally the murder ballad of Mackie Knife. Mac the Knife, a song written by Bertolt Brecht for his play The Three-Penny Opera. That one actually goes, und der Haifisch, der hat Zähne, und die trägt er im Gesicht. Und Macheat, der hat ein Messer, doch das Messer sieht man nicht. The metaphor of the ever-fighting shark might seem a bit abstract at first, but I think it definitely fits the rest of the lyrics. The band as a whole could be interpreted as the shark that, in spite of potential censorship and other obstacles, keeps going on and swimming against the current. The strong expression of a tight bond, a tight unity, which could vanish if just one of the band members were to quit or leave the band, ties in with the rest of the lyrics. In that sense, each band member could also be seen as a single shark who might need to fight for their own respective place and musical ideas within the band's songs at times, but in the end the whole shark tank, or the shark group, swims in the same direction and they support each other. It's also worth noting that the chorus is shorter than the verses, but because of the addition of the distorted guitars and the arrangement, it still evokes a strong impact musically. Verse 2 continues by using various variations of the term halten and various meanings of it in certain contexts. I just love the German language. Wir halten das Tempo. Wir halten unser Wort. Wenn einer nicht mithält, dann halten wir sofort. Wir halten die Augen offen. Wir halten uns den Arm. 6 Herzen, die brennen. Das Feuer hält euch warm. This verse might be my personal favorite because of the strong recurring imagery. Herzen, hearts, or Feuer, fire, and metaphors especially towards the end. It once again stresses the strong Entschiedenheit, determination of the 6 guys, and das Bewusstsein, the awareness of only being able to succeed through group efforts. Line 1 features the phrase das Tempo halten, to hold or keep a steady speed. Line 2 features the expression das Wort halten, keep the word, implying to give a promise, and to keep that promise. Lines 4 and 5 are connected and could be interpreted in both a temporal or a conditional way, depending on how you want to translate the wenn, to when or to if. Both is possible. When one can't keep up, or if one can't keep up. Line 5 contains the term offen halten, which is commonly used in this context, die Augen offen halten, to keep the eyes open, meaning to anticipate potential obstacles in the way and to experience things consciously. Line 6 could feature a variation of the common German saying jemandem unter die Arme greifen, literally to grip someone under the arms, meaning to help someone to support someone. Again, lines 7 and 8 are connected, even though mostly through the continued metaphor, the burning hearts implying a shared passion, a burning desire to create new music together, to let each other shine and to underline the band effort in all of their songs. Chorus number 2 is longer than the first one, since it features a continuation of the shark setting. In der Tiefe ist es einsam, und so manche Zehre fließt, und so kommt es, dass das Wasser in den Meeren salzig ist. As a German linguist, what I also really like about Rammstein's lyrics for the most part is that Till often uses outdated or old-fashioned terms to enrich the expressiveness, you could say, of the lyrics and what is there to convey, right? And it also adds a little, sometimes supernatural flair, if that makes sense. It's just more classy that way, and it really fits. I love those choices. In this case, an outstanding special German word is die Zähre, which no German would use anymore these days, by far. The common German term is die Träne, singular, die Tränen, plural, the tear. I like the poetic reference to the salty seawater and a metaphorical reason for it being salty. Again, this could be comprehended as a reference to hard and tough times the band had to go through in their career, including setbacks, censorship, and false accusations. Crying about these things doesn't bring a solution, since crying underwater is invisible to the eye, and the only way to overcome those obstacles is to move forward, to keep swimming and to hunt for success and free artistic expression. The band indirectly addresses their awareness of not everyone liking their music videos, public appearances, and everything about them. But at least they can't deny the band is still going strong, going forward, and remaining creative in doing their thing. This gets expressed in the quieter bridge section, which is a great contrast to the heroic-sounding chorus. Man kann von uns halten, was immer man da will. Wir halten uns schadlos, wir halten niemals still. Again, the lyrics continue to use various expressions including halten, to hold, etwas von jemandem halten, to think something of or about someone, to have an opinion about someone. Line 3 contains the slightly ambiguous phrasing sich schadlos halten. In a way, it could mean something like we won't allow damage or outer forces to harm us. We'll keep us away from harm. It might also imply that one is actively trying to make wrong things right in the sense of fighting against wrong criticism and harm, maybe even as some kind of revenge. Both last lines could either work in Präsens, simple present, or in Futur 1, future 1, we will not stop. We don't stop, or we will not stop. From the perspective of a German Rammstein fan, this song especially works as an affirmation of the band's resilience, strength, and motivation still after all those years. And that is really, really impressive to me. So what do you think about this song and the band? Feel free to tell me in the comments, and also make sure to check out the video description with many interesting links to my socials and of course also to my German podcast, The German Podcast, available on all platforms, and for instance also support options if you want to support me and my work here on YouTube by tipping something via PayPal, for instance, or even by supporting me in the long term on Patreon. That is highly appreciated. It really helps me to really spend time making these videos for you guys, so massive thanks for checking that out. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to share it with other people, because that really helps the channel. So thanks for doing that as well in advance. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm your Vlog Dave. Tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.